Yep. So, hello everybody. I hope y'all have been having a great 2 weeks of trading. Um, I'm just gonna go straight to the point because I honestly don't know what else to say on a YouTube video sometimes. But this is the progress that I've been going through. Since like my last video 2 weeks ago, I've been performing really well with trades under usually five. I had one day where I traded about 19 times, which isn't ideal. However, I did keep my losses under $350 on that specific day. So I kind of just kept going until I basically got my base hit for $167. I was really in the zone with trading too, and I wasn't making too many mistakes. It was actually from me uh, taking a trade, and I was actually in the money for about 700, $800. But I got a little bit too greedy, and because of the greed, I was taking small losses in between each of those trades. I really thought that that specific day we were going to get a massive move, and I could have made much more than over $1,000. So I just kept going at it, and sometimes you got to know when to take a break. So right after I had my first win that was fairly good, I think it was like $300 on that. I just locked it out for $167 to get the 1 day in. Sometimes you got to do that when you're trading, right? You can't just keep pushing and pushing and pushing profits trying to get over, more than $400, $500. It just doesn't make sense, right? Because if you keep doing that, you're doing is reducing your win rate and just giving yourself more room for errors. And on this specific day, it could have gone really bad for me, but considering that like my psychology has been a lot better, I had a lot of trust in my system, so I was able to basically pull through with appropriate trades on each of them, and was able to maximize my profits this way and minimize my losses because I was fairly confident in the moves that I was taking. So confidence is definitely a key to trading. Without confidence, you're just gonna, mismanage your position, and you're just gonna take too many early profits, or sometimes your profits aren't really extravagant and they don't feel good enough for you. You're gonna end up being more greedy, right? And managing emotions is one of the things that a lot of people suffer on because they don't really understand themselves. So to become a good trader, you have to really and deeply understand all of your little small habits, bad habits, and good habits, and stay away from your bad habits, right? If you feel like you're in the zone and you feel like you're not feeling too anxious, um, then it means you're in the zone, right? Even for myself, when I trade, I am anxious, right? Even this $800 win that I had today, I was anxious, you know? But I took my trades that I needed to take in those appropriate areas, and I was able to profit on it, right? That's what matters the most, right? It's not about going on tilt. It's not about having all these different ideas in your analysis. It's just take your trade, and if you're in the zone and you take a trade in the zone, you're gonna basically profit, and that's just generally how it goes, right? Um, but then if there are times where you feel like you're not in the zone, then you just gotta stop. But yeah, with these 2 weeks, I made around 3,000, 3K or so. Yeah, about 3K. Um, and I took a 2K payout on that specific day. So today I got $800. So I just need another 4 days, and I'm gonna take another payout. So this one is right now well on its way for 22 profitable days and consistent winning days, right? Not just bullshit. I don't trade any ICT crap. Only the gap concepts is basically all I do. And I use literally Fibonacci, and that's all I do. I don't even look at any particular candles. I just look at whether the candle closes green, and if the candle closes green, then I get in. If the candle closes red, then obviously I don't jump in longs on a red candle, right? It doesn't make sense to do that specifically. But yeah, moving forward, pretty long introduction. Uh, yeah, so I had one of these videos, right? Um, from Mike here. He says, "Yo, my friend Johnny sent me up to keep the grind. Keep up the grind. I need help with managing emotions on stop loss. Can you make a video?" Well, this is the video for that, John, Mike, and you know, I hope that whatever I tell you now is gonna help you. Um, so here it is. With this specific account, I'm just gonna use this as an example, right? When you're taking a trade, right, you're gonna have your specific key levels wherever they are, whether it's the prior high, right, the extreme highs, or the extreme lows, where there's multiple extreme lows. Those are areas where you want to take a position, and you got to understand the foundations of your system too. If you don't feel like your system is actually well made, you're gonna end up moving your stop losses a lot more, and sometimes you don't want to take a loss, but sometimes taking a loss is a good thing, right? So how I manage my emotions, especially when I trade, is this: when I take a position in long, for example, I will look at this trade and think to myself, was it in a good position, right? I ask myself that every single time. Is it in a good position? Is it exactly at my key level before I take this trade, right? And if it is at my key level, then basically I want to position myself where I minimize my loss as much as possible when I'm at my key level. If it hits my stop loss, then it is potentially a good loss, because at the end of the day, if it's at your key level, generally the risk to reward is going to be much less, right? The risk is going to be much less compared to the reward. So that's how I view um, and manage my psychology when I trade, right? When I trade here, for example, look, I'm in a long position right now at a prior high. I want to say that this is going to bounce off of this key level. This is the news candle. There's a fair value gap just sitting right in between the trend here. And I want to say that my risk to reward, I want to keep it as tight as possible. Right now, $660 is not very tight because this is the low of the candle, right? If I take a trade, I want to make sure that it doesn't go lower than that, right? So my max risk on this trade, it might even be just 200, it might even be 150, because I don't want it to go below this prior high, and I don't want it to basically break lower than this gap over here to the downside where it goes under the candle, right? It just doesn't make sense. And that's how I manage my emotions with it, right? When I'm in profit, I also look for areas to take profit, right? So I'll take a look at prior highs, prior lows, and then basically just aim for that. That's going to be the liquidity that you're aiming for, And if I take a loss here, then so be it. I took the loss. If this trade was supposed to go in the direction that you wanted to, it wouldn't have hit your stop, you know? And that's primarily what I look at, right? If it hits my stop loss, then that's just a trade that wasn't supposed to work out. If it doesn't hit my stop loss, it means that trade works out. That's just like the reality behind it, right? And that's how I manage my psychology on that specific trend every single time, right? If the trend is continuing to go down, obviously I would take a short position and I would put a stop loss where it just consistently broke out, right? My next target zone is going to be down here. I trade simple. Either I go for the most extreme lows or, within the range, right? And I don't really like you know fucking around too much with my stop loss, but only if it's in profit, and if I see it going in profit with nice momentum, I will trail my stop loss. And I don't care what like all these other people say, don't move your fucking stop loss, whatever it is. I'm gonna move my fucking stop loss. And if I see that there's a specific key level that is getting broken out, I'm gonna obviously trail aggressively to keep me in profit. And that's how I've been keeping my wins steady and my losses lower, because I'm trailing so aggressively that it doesn't even matter, right? But like I'd say like you have to look at the price action, you know? So like look at this close. That close was amazing, right? We just broke through the 8:30 news candle over here, and we are starting to continue lower, right? But what I don't want is for it to come back up above this specific candle. So I would even consider doing like $150 and less, because I just don't want it to go. I just don't want it to go. I don't want it to hit that stop. Like I don't want it to hit this candle 275. In my opinion, a lot of people don't trade the way that I do, and I like to trade this specific way because this is how I keep my losses small. So I hope that helps, Mike. And another thing is that my trades are so quick. Like this right here was a $360 profit. I would even be happy with $400 on the day. I don't fucking need 2 grand, 4 grand, whatever the bullshit is. I don't need to sit through all the fucking noise. right, of like $755. I don't have to see it come all the way back up here and just be like that, you know? I'm gonna go with momentum, and if the momentum is going on my way, then I don't see a reason why I should even get close to my stop loss, let alone, right? So now I'm in $445 of profit. I'm asking myself, is this enough for me on the day? Yeah, it could be. Honestly, let's do it. You know, it could definitely run to 1,400. It could run to 875. Um, I'll take my profits because I'm happy with it, and that's just how I do it. That's how I trade. Like literally, that's how I trade. You know, if I'm happy with the profits that I have, then I will get out of my trade. You know, no questions about it, no questions asked. I don't care what other people think. I'm just going to do what I like the best for myself, right? Because at the end of the day, you're benefiting yourself. You're not benefiting others, you know? And this is why I even believe that social media is kind of toxic in its own way, because it's like you're trying to show off constantly, you know? It's like you have to fucking cater to your audience and just do it all the time. If you're especially you're trying to build a business, and not just do trading specifically full time, and you want to, you know, teach other people, educate, coach, whatever the case may be, create a curriculum, this is like a mandatory thing. You're gonna have to spend and invest time into social media, right? For me, it's not like that. I don't really like investing time into social media like other people do. I used to. Last year, I was constantly posting and everything, and I just found it was so redundant. Like, I'm a fucking lazy guy, man. Like, I'm just a normal dude who's trying to earn money through trading. I'm not a guy that's trying to earn money entirely from teaching other people, you know? Like, I'm going to teach people 10% and spend like literally 10% on social media, and then the rest of the 80% is going to be directly towards trading. You know, but all those other people, they work on their videos, they edit it, maybe they have an editor, maybe they spend 20 to 30 minutes, maybe like an hour, maybe 2 hours, whatever the case may be. I just want to live my life, you know, and that is how I think, right? Before, when I was stuck in this cycle, I was always trying to and you see this trade is working out, right? But I just don't care. I just personally don't care, you know? And as long as I don't care and I work on my consistency, eventually over time, when I have a much bigger account in the future, I will hit bigger trades. I will hit bigger scalps. I don't even care because right now I have a small account. I'm going to focus on the fact that I have a small account, and I'm going to build that account until it's much bigger. When it's bigger, then yeah, you can work with 2 contracts, 3 contracts. Maybe you can even try holding swings much longer. You can dabble a little bit, but I'm just not that kind of person to dabble in the markets too much. I've been hurt by it too many times, and I'm just gonna keep it to myself, um, and just be happy with the profits that I'm given, right? And the thing is that you just gotta look at all the other YouTubers who are doing this, right? There's a lot of YouTubers out here, man. Yeah, they can make 10, 15 grand in a single fucking day. That's true. But a lot of them have been locking out between $400 to $800 consistently. Have you not noticed that, right? The traders that try to make 4 or 5 grand every single fucking day, yeah, I don't really trust. Like, I just don't believe in that shit. You know, like it can work. Yes, you can definitely make it worthwhile for yourself, but I'm just not in that same position at the moment, right? At the moment, I can't do that because maybe I'm mentally not prepared to make large sums of money like that, and and it might even damage the way that I trade, right? So that's why it's so important to understand the psychology, you know? The psychology matters. And it's really not about the trading too much, right? Protect your psychology at all costs. Protect your position at all costs, you know? So those are things that you just have to keep in the back of your mind when you're trading. And that's what I do in the back of my mind when I'm trading. I take a long position over here. I saw that it swept out. This is how I made my $800 today, right? I saw it swept out. I saw it come back up. I jumped in a long position with a very tight risk because I'm not going to say that it's not going to fucking go lower. It could. It could have stopped me out for $250, and I would have been like, okay, I'll wait on the next trade, and I would have been patient. I would have seen it go and break out. Maybe I would have taken a scalp here or something when I saw it strongly break out, but this was the 930 candle. I would have waited probably. But because I took the chances on this trade, I ended up being up like $800 just at this point. I got stopped out because I moved my stop loss up, right? I moved my stop loss up. I was expecting momentum to keep pushing. I was expecting maybe $1,500, right? And it just didn't get there. You know, that's how trading is. Sometimes you take a trade with these expectations to make $1,500, but to protect yourself, you gotta move your stop up in profit, right? That's how I protect myself. And you have to be happy with what you get. You know, if you're not happy with what you get, you're not gonna be you're just gonna be greedy. You're just gonna take another trade. You're gonna try to make more and more and more and more. And then you're just gonna go in this spiral because when you lose your profits, that's when the pain comes in. Profits not being protected hurts more, especially when you were in profit and then you go red. You got to protect yourself, right? If you took too many trades on this day and you knew that you took too many trades, lock out, stop yourself right now, move on to the next day. So, one last thing I just wanted to talk about is I will now officially be starting private coaching sessions in March. These are the details, so you're more than welcome to go through it. If you guys want to learn the psychology as well as the methodologies that I have, um, yeah, just book with me in March, and I'll be able to provide access to a private Discord, and we can work from there. But yeah, thanks for watching the video. Feel free to like and subscribe, and thanks for giving me your time. Enjoy your day.